Welcome to VDEOMKR, the podcast that cuts past the highlight reel and takes you straight into the raw, behind-the-scenes stories of creatives and makers. I'm Carly, founder of The Good Vibe Media, a woman-owned and operated video production agency and a creative studio space. Every week on VDEOMKR, I sit down with filmmakers, creators, and creative entrepreneurs for a deep, honest conversation you don't typically hear. The late nights, the pivots, the breakdowns that shape the breakthroughs. These are the conversations and stories that make people like me and so many other creatives need to hear. This is a space for growth, for lessons, for community, a place where we learn from each other's real, unfiltered journeys. This is VDEOMKR. Let's get rolling. Welcome back to another episode of VDEOMKR. I'm your host, Carly, and today we have Sue. Sue Bryce is an internationally acclaimed portrait photographer, educator, and creative entrepreneur. Born in New Zealand and now based in Phoenix, she has spent over 3 decades mastering the art of portrait photography, gaining countless awards and achievements along the way. In 2014, she launched her own education platform, The Portrait System, built to help photographers around the world transform their craft and build profitable businesses. Now, Sue is an educator and speaker, providing in-person workshops, keynote speaking sessions, one-on-one mentoring sessions, and more. She's a fierce advocate for creatives seeing their worth, owning their power, and monetizing their craft. I am so excited for this conversation today, Sue. Thank you for being here.
Hey, thank you for inviting me.
Yes, I know so much about your story, and I actually was doing a little bit more research to dig up some more before we sat down and had this conversation. But one thing that we have in common and that I'm so inspired by is really the purpose of this podcast is to inspire and educate more creatives to feel empowered and have tools and resources to turn their creative endeavors into lucrative careers. Mm-hmm. And that's what you've been doing the last few decades. You really are the pioneer of supporting so many creatives that way. So I'm excited to dive into this combo.
I was a photographer, had built this business, but I'd gotten to this part in my 40s where I didn't really want to do it anymore. Like it was coming to the sort of end of that part of my career. And I had this overwhelming feeling that if I don't share this, then this beautiful thing that I've built will never get shared, and women all around the world will never get to experience this. Yeah. So that was my initial motivation. Like when I hear that story, I always think, wow, it's so cool. I truly believed that I was coming to the end of a really incredible career in business. And I was like, I really need to share it so that people can experience this. Because I don't think I would ever have been happy knowing that I never shared that with the world. And then what happened was a movement, and I ended up with tens of thousands of students all around the world. And then my purpose became monetizing creatives. Yeah. Because creatives are incredible people to teach and be with and build businesses around, but they're just so bad at making money.
Yes. Why is that? Why is that the case? It's just the way our brains
No,
operate?
because we don't like selling our work. And that's really what it comes down to is if you teach creatives how to sell, you change their life. So in doing that and actually almost retiring, I ended up opening something that was way bigger. And it took me around the world over the next last 15 years. So.
Yeah. Okay. We're going to get into that story. But first things first, I want to start with some rapid fire.
Yep.
We're going to get warmed up a little bit this morning with some rapid fire. So what was the first thing that you ever made that you can think back? The first thing you ever made that you were super, super proud of?
I was raised by artists. So I've been making things since the day I was born, and I've always loved anything I've created.
Yeah. Do you remember, was there like a tangible piece of art when you were young that you vividly remember was?
Again, I grew up, you throw a stone, you hit, in my family, you hit a whole lot of artists.
I love it.
I couldn't tell you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Also, there's not one piece of art that is good. All art is good. The fact that I am a paid artist is magic. That's everything.
Yeah, totally. I did hear about on another podcast episode you did about your sister, who is an artist as well.
She's a real artist.
Yes.
I'm just a pretend artist. My sister is an artist.
No, but the beautiful balance of how you describe, her art, and I know she was a teacher for many years too. but how you've been able to just your brain honestly like operates a little bit differently and how you can make more money and monetize on your art. Just a beautiful.
Well, I was teaching through creation. She was teaching through high school. So she was
Mhm.
not getting paid to change lives, and I was. And that was the difference. But yeah, she's still an artist. She'll always be an artist. And yeah, she's an artist that doesn't make money.
Yeah. And she lives in New Zealand?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Of course, I said rapid fire, and we're just like squirrel moments all over. Okay. Your daily fuel. Is it coffee, tea, or something stronger?
Um, right now, I wake up in the morning, get hot water, and put collagen in it because when you turn 50, it's all about the protein. I don't even have coffee anymore. I'm giving up coffee in my right this year.
Okay. How long has it been?
Um, I've just been phasing it out.
Okay.
5 espressos a day, and now I'm down to I make one in the morning and I don't finish it. So I'm like not even finishing an espresso. So yeah,
Okay.
collagen is my jam.
Okay, great. So you're telling me there's hope that maybe one day I can wean off the coffee too, because right now I
Yeah.
survive off of it.
I
for
mean,
my
I
days.
really hope you didn't think I was going to say espresso
I
martini or
know.
anything like fun like that.
Okay, awesome. How about your creative environment? Where do you feel the most creative? Is it a desk, a plane, a shower? Is it
Ooh,
somewhere else?
anywhere, just moving.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. If I feel stuck, I go to crafting
Mm.
because crafting requires no like brain. It's just hands. And as soon as my hands start crafting, same thing with loading the dishwasher or doing a mundane task like folding clothes. As soon as I do something like repetitive with my hands, my brain just starts to create.
Yeah.
And some of my best moments of creative ideas come in the shower or folding clothes or doing the dishes, doing something really mundane or just crafting, doing a simple craft, like crocheting, and then just getting creative ideas.
Okay.
Something about that makes my brain just,
Mm.
yeah. And
Maybe.
movies,
And movies, yes.
visual movies, like just as a photographer. And when I see movies,
Mhm.
it fascinates
Yeah,
me.
experiencing the audio, the visuals,
The
the
lighting, the
lighting.
expression, the direction,
Yes. Yes.
every part of it. And somehow seeing that makes my brain create more things.
Have
Yeah.
you seen the new Wicked?
No,
Mhm.
not into musicals. Oh my God.
Oh no, Aubrey from our team. She's behind the camera right now. She's shaking her head.
I know. It's like
You've been blasting it.
No, I'm gonna be a wicked hater.
Yeah. Oh no, don't say that to Aubrey too loud.
Sorry, girls.
Oh my goodness. Okay, how about this one? Who is someone that you would drop everything to collaborate with and why? They could
Mm. Oh my gosh.
anybody, could be alive, could be not alive anymore. Just a dream person that you were like, oh my gosh, this is the person I would
Well,
love
I
to
just started my new podcast and I'm going to be photographing the people that I'm interviewing. So there's people I've written a list
Mm,
and I'm really have written this list and there's about 8 people on it right now. Um, and that I want specifically people that are so authentic. I found them obviously on Instagram. So I found them through their social media and they're so authentic within their social media. I'm like, I want to collaborate with those people and tell their stories. So it's like, those are the stories that I'm interested in.
totally. Okay, I can't wait to talk about your podcast a little bit more because you're always drumming up some amazing new projects and things, and this is a big one. So we'll talk about that soon too. Okay, we've got three more. Are you a morning person or a night owl?
Morning.
Morning. Beautiful. If your creative journey had a theme song, what would your theme song be?
Find your value.
By who?
Find your value. No,
Your
is my theme song
Yeah.
is would be what I would write as my
Yes, she is writing her own theme song, everybody.
I didn't think you meant to reference a song. What would my theme song be? It would be finding my
Fine.
value. So if it was my theme song, oh, Rihanna's "Bitch Better Have My Money."
Let's
You know
go.
why? It's been a joke in my studio since it came out. I've always said to my staff, whenever I employ people, we need to talk about money because I pay you and I want you to grow in this role and I want you to grow in your income and I want to help all of my staff grow their income. And I have done that. So ever since I heard that song, I used to say to everybody, look at me. I have no problem talking about money. You can come to me and talk to me about money, pay me more. Am I worth more? How do I get to this? You can say, and if I owe you money, I said, I want you to just text me that Rihanna song, Bitch Better Have My Money. 'Cause
Yes.
I said, if I haven't paid you for something, it's because I forgot. But don't ever be weird around money talk, because I can't help you grow your money until you take away the weird, uncomfortable feelings around money.
Yep.
And so, yeah, that's definitely been my.
I love this so much.
And also, I couldn't ask for money when I first started out, right?
Yeah.
I
Well,
was
that's why
guilt and shame.
Yeah.
So I was like, so many people wanted my thousands of dollars worth of photography skill, but I couldn't ask for that money. So that song sits there because it's kind of like also angsty for me to ask for money. So bitch better have my money.
Bitch better have my
Yeah.
money.
Pay me what I'm worth. Pay me what I just did. Pay me because that's equal exchange. And, when you're young and you're creative, you just get ripped off so much that you just start getting angry about it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's definitely.
Okay, I love this. And this is actually a perfect segue into talking about why you have that perspective and how you've built what you built, because it wasn't always this way. You started doing photography at an early age,
Yep,
right?
18.
18. And then can you tell us like the timeline of what that photography journey looked like in order to get you to a place in your 30s, right? Where
Yeah,
you
I was
started
really
to
lucky
build.
because I got employed, right?
Mhm.
And if you're employed, you employ videographers. That's very unique.
Yeah.
I wanted to be a professional photographer, but I couldn't afford my own studio. I was a kid. So I got employed by a studio, and I worked for them for 12 years and I mastered my craft. So by the time I hit 30 years old, had this mastery already. I was already valuable in the room because I was photographing lawyers and doctors and people that were way more important than me. And they said I was really good. So I was getting this idea that I was valuable. But it wasn't until then that I realized I wasn't making any money because, I'm working for someone. So I'm getting a wage, and a really low wage, even though I had a great job. So I started my business at 30. And that's really what it became, was you can master your craft, but until you learn how to master money and learn how to sell yourself and your product, you can't maintain a business, and you cannot stay in business, which is why people start a business and fail straight away.
Yeah.
They can't ask for money. So really, the next 10 years, I'd say the first 12 years of my business, of my career, was mastering my craft. The second 10 was mastering business and money, mastering the equal exchange of value, asking for more and keeping money when it comes to me so that I can be sustainable and keep being in business over and over again. The third decade, I taught. I stopped being an artist in order to teach my business model. And that 10-year period, whilst incredibly lucrative, was a big sacrifice. And now I get to be an artist again. So I've had these big waves, but really it was about, can I sustain myself as an artist? And you've got to get the creators through this idea of how they're going to make money. But the best advice I can give anybody is, if you're a painter and you painted beautiful paintings and you took them to a gallery and a gallery showed them and sold them and gave you 60 to 40% of what that painting was sold for, and you did nothing, you just gave away 40 to 60% of your income in order for somebody else to do that for you. Most artists feel like they're getting ripped off. And yet 40% of a successful sale is better than 60% of nothing.
Correct.
And so somebody has to sell you, is the bottom line.
Yes.
And so if you can't learn to sell yourself, you're never going to be sustainable as an artist. And if you can't get through this, like I could say this to my sister. My sister would vehemently fight me on this and still go back to creating instead of selling. She does not want to sell. Her only option is to find somebody that can sell her for her. So that's really it for me, was it all came down to, am I valuable enough to ask for money in equal exchange, keep it, and start a business and run a business?
Yeah.
And that was, yeah, the biggest catalyst in that 10 years.
Is there a way for people, because I think nowadays, like I even saw a video this morning of someone talking about how, this next generation of younger, creatives that, or just the younger generation in general has this idea of like get rich quick type thing and this instant gratification. And what they were saying in the post that I saw this morning was like, that's not it. Like it takes time to build your wealth, to build your experience, to build everything, which is what you so beautifully described in the 12 years that you mastered your craft. And once you take the time to build your wealth,
Oh, I knew nothing about business.
yeah, but I'm curious what it was in those 12 years of you mastering your craft. Was there something that just like sparked, or something that was said, or someone that came across your path that kind of opened up your perspective of saying, oh no, now it's time to step into this
Yeah.
phase of, figuring out business and mastering the money behind it all?
We turned 30, my 3 best friends
Yeah.
and I had a party because they'd all bought a house,
Okay.
all 3 of them.
Yeah.
One was single and the other 2 were with their partners, had bought a house. But I was just sitting there and I thought, I don't have savings.
Mm.
I'm drinking champagne with my 3 best friends and they're all moving into their new homes. And I was like, I don't have a home. I don't have the chance of having a home. I don't have a salary that could get me into a house, let alone business that could do that.
Mm.
And that was the moment, that very moment there, that, and I had this weird interaction with a world famous photographer from Australia who'd come over to New Zealand, and we were talking and he knew my work, and he just looked at me and he goes, I see you at the forefront of international professional photography in the next 5 years. And I was like, I just did this weird, like laugh,
Yeah.
high pitch that I remember thinking about it afterwards, and I was like, I wonder why he said that to me.
Yeah.
Because he saw something I definitely never even considered, that it was way bigger than a vision that I had.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't until he said it out loud and I really carried it. Sometimes it only takes one person to see you,
Yeah.
and that one person has to be significant to you. They have to mean something. It can't just be mum, right?
Right. Right.
And it's somebody that just sees something and says something that wakes you up in the moment. I like he did that, and that kind of, I remember thinking, well, he believes that about me, and I didn't even think that about me. So I was like, if he believes that about me, maybe I should explore that.
Mm-hmm.
And that wasn't my goal. Obviously, my goal was, I built an amazing business, and more people should be able to share this.
Mm-hmm.
And that was my goal.
I love that.
Mm.
What would you say is the most common problem or question or thing that you would get faced with working with all these different photographers and creatives all over the world and supporting them and educating them? What's their biggest problem or setback or holdback that you help them get past?
Let me show you the tattoo I have. The tattoo is, that won't work in my town. That's the biggest one. I go, oh, that's usually
Mhm.
tattooed on the forehead. But not me. I can't do that. I can't have that. Not in my town is the best one, because I built $1 million business in a small country town. And it really had nothing to do with geography. It had to do with connecting with women and just finding women. And so, yeah, I grew up in a rural town,
Mhm.
and I started a glamour photography studio that took me around the world in my garage in Pukekohe. So it's a market gardening community, and it's a big rural town. And that's where I live and grew up. So, yeah, I feel like not in my town and not with this economy is what I
Mhm.
also hear, but I've heard that for 35 years. So it's like the economy's never clearly good enough to spend money. And the other one would be not in my town. Uh, I guess people just truly don't know how to take the next step.
Yeah.
So they make up a whole lot of stories that they can't take the next step, or I'm stuck.
Mm.
I'm stuck and I don't know how to get free is the biggest lie you'll ever tell yourself,
Okay.
because it's not true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think that some people just need like that permission, I guess, from another perspective to say, No, like actually, let's reframe.
You ask most people and they'll tell you that they're building someone else's dream and they're not building their dream.
Uh,
And when you actually say that and you actually bring that to their awareness and you say, well, do you know what you want? Because
mhm.
you don't know what you want if you're building somebody else's dream. And that's the moment that you see the look on people's faces, like that they've been crushed,
Yeah.
just crushed.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not living the life on my terms. I'm not doing what I want. I'm not building the business I want. I'm not getting the income I want. I don't have the body that I want, the joyful space that I want, the creativity that I want.
Mm.
And when you really start looking at what you want, you start to realize how much you give yourself away. So that would probably be it, really,
Mm.
is who am I? What have I got? What do I do for people? Those are simple things, but they're all rooted in identity. And when you build a business, that's what comes up.
Yeah.
Who am I? Am I good enough? Validate me.
Totally.
And we think validating is being paid.
Hmm.
So we just stay quiet and hope that other people pay us to validate us.
Hmm.
Yeah.
One of the things I love about your story is you and correct me if I'm wrong on the timeline of this, but I think it was around 2009 or 10 where you had the idea of opening studios all over the world in
Mhm.
different countries
Franchise.
and
Yeah.
franchise. And then you realized, oh, wait a second, I can actually achieve this without opening physical
Yes.
space, right?
Yes.
So when I say like you were the pioneer, I mean, this was before the wave of digital education resources, correct?
Yes, and
Or,
I was on the wave.
okay,
So I didn't create the wave.
okay.
I was on it. I saw the wave.
Yeah.
After 2008, what happens with a financial crisis, especially globally? I was in New Zealand when that happened.
Hmm.
We were not impacted the way you were,
Hmm.
but we were still impacted. And I remembered hearing a quote back then that said, Warren Buffett, would you believe? You know who's swimming naked when the tide goes out? Now, I learned that in the 90 crash when I was an employee because we were swimming naked. So we nearly lost the business and I had to go without pay because I saw my bosses not be prepared for that. So when I was in business, that was my first financial crash. We had $88,000 in the bank as an emergency fund.
Mm.
We had worked out our money. We were safe and we survived that year. Uh, Interestingly, 2009, I didn't want to do it anymore. I was like, I was time for me to grow. And that's when I was like, I'm going to franchise this, give this to the world. I'm going to franchise it all around the world. I'm going to have a studio in every city in the world. And I didn't, but I did get 28,000 students go through my program. And I have a studio I can visit in every city in the world, literally.
Yes.
And it's ironic. It was a vision, but it's not how it sort of came to fruition, but
Hmm.
in the end.
I am curious when you look at today, now knowing, because one of the things I think that sets me back, I've always had the idea in my head, oh, digital resources, digital. When you have people that come to you and they say, oh, I want to learn, I want to hear, but I have my own setbacks on why I'm just not taking action. And I think one of those hesitations is, oh my gosh, it's so saturated. Like there's so much out there. Like people are over being like sold things and, education and digital resources here. That's what holds me back.
Mhm.
What would you say to that? How would you
Uh,
respond to that?
So that's a fact.
Okay.
And that's always been a fact. We are competing for noise and attention, right? We're just competing to be this coach over this coach over this coach. What keeps a community together is the community, right? A community. But ultimately, it's the live connection that you have.
Mm.
So I can record content all day and all night.
Mhm.
But what connects that content to people is when I go live with that content.
Yeah.
So the content does not have to be live, but there has to be a live component to it.
Okay.
Otherwise, you're just pressing play on an old video.
Yeah.
But when there's a live component, so let's say you go live and we all jump on and there you are talking for 5 minutes and you're introducing a video that you pre-recorded. So the production quality is 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
It's everything you want. It's the fact that you're there live.
Hmm.
They can watch the video, but when they go in the chat, you're answering in real time.
Yeah.
That is, you are right there. You're in the next room.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
Because the second I take away my live component, my library drops to about 1/3 of what it performs at when I have a live component and I'm part of it.
Mm-hmm.
And the difference is it's like you going online and just finding something to watch on YouTube, or you go online with 1,000 other people to watch somebody on YouTube that you can ask questions. Which would you rather do?
Yeah.
Right? And we all have a different sort of mode of learning. But that for me was it's the live component that I put into my digital content. It's the only product you'll make as a business owner. Hear me, guys. It's the only product you'll make as as a business owner where you make money while you sleep.
Mm.
Digital products. Physical products
Yeah.
don't make money while you sleep.
Right.
They can, you can sell them, but you have to ship them and store them and manufacture them.
Yeah.
An in-person service or a digital service is exchanging money for time.
Yeah.
But all businesses start by trading money for time.
Right.
You've got to learn how to trade your money for time so that you can learn how valuable your time is.
Right.
Because when you first start out, you do anything for the job and it never pencils out. The hours never pencil out to the money. But once you know your value and you have traded money for time, then you can be more valuable. Like that's the biggest thing that you learn. So yeah, the digital products for me is the only place I can go to sleep and wake up the next morning and I've made thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But it only stays active by having a live community that's engaged and interacted, and also that live component of being able to get to me.
Mm-hmm. Can we talk about the different ways of monetizing your creative endeavors?
Yes.
Because, yes, I know this is something you speak on so much, and it's important for us to hear because, and I can only speak for myself. I know when I got into filmmaking, I had no intention of building a business. I knew nothing about business. I just was so passionate about the art of telling story and evoking emotion through video.
Yes.
So that was the only like track that I was heading on, is like, I have no idea how to charge for this. I just want to tell more stories, tell more stories, tell more stories. And then after you know, work on your craft and you build a business, you have really helped me open my eyes to other ways that I can monetize this. So let's talk about all the different ways that you can monetize your creative
If
craft.
you have, the first thing you can do is put your prices up.
Yeah.
Because even a 5% increase will give you 5% more than you had last year. And it's the fastest way to get a pay rise. If you're going to add more products, yeah, digital products are great. Make money while you sleep. So think of it in terms of, doesn't have to be a 10-class masterclass. One of Nikki Closser, who is my host of my podcast, she created an email template for photographers to respond to people via email. And she did this about 8 years ago. And it was, I think, $19 product or $20 product. I know it wasn't expensive. Not over $45. And that's what templates should not be over $45, market price. And 2 years later, she did her P&L. She came to me and she was like, I never look at this. I posted it once when I made it. I never market it. I never talk about it. She was like, this little email PDF has made me $19,000. And I was like, while you were sleeping. And she was like, $19,000. And I was like, while you were sleeping, Nikki. So think of it like that.
Wow.
Do I have an ebook?
Yeah.
Could I create an ebook that's digital that could be downloaded? Why is it an ebook? If I'm sleeping and you go and spend $35 on my ebook and you're in Paris, you've got my book by the time I wake up. There's a chance I could wake up to a post saying, I just bought this book, started reading it, and I'm still in bed reading it. But if that was not an ebook, if it was being shipped or something went wrong with the process, the payment, I'd be waking up to a post saying, she just ripped me off, you know, like blah, blah. So to me, it was always just so easy just to create products and sell products, digital products. And I wake up in the morning and I've made money. So yes, add more products. Ultimately, adding more value is the one thing you can't quantify. But everybody wants to be more valuable, right? In their brand. We're all personal brands now. Like it's all very well. You've got a company brand, you're Good Vibe Media, but you're still Carly. That is still your personal brand. You're the owner, you're the creator, you're the founder of this business. You've still got to build a personal brand. So putting value into you is going to elevate your brand. And we find that really hard to like put more value into ourselves. We try to put more value into the product.
Mm.
Simplify what you're selling. I always say, give me 3 options. So if you're creating a video package, I want a small video package, I want a medium video package, and I want a large video package.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody buys the medium.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Okay.
So what happens is this: photographers are the same, videographers are the same. I've got 3 packages, 1,000, 2,000, and 3,000.
Yeah.
Wonderful. I'll buy the $2,000 package. Inevitably, what happens is everybody starts buying the $3,000 package. Okay. So that tells me they always buy the middle package. So add $5,000 package, then, or add a 4,000, because if they're buying your highest package, that's now your middle package.
Mm-hmm.
Add another one and keep adding the higher package onto your middle package and keep taking away your lower package. That's how you do it. There is no other way to do it. It's so simple. Everyone's going, but you can't do that. Now, listen to this. I just heard you say, but what about my old clients? The old clients you like, you keep them at the old price because you grandfather them in and you reward them. You like them and they bring you more clients. Reward them. They will stay with you because you're giving them the old price. The people who, you didn't like, you give them your new prices to try and get rid of them anyway, or they pay the full price.
Yeah. What if they
you didn't
say?
even want to work with them?
Yeah.
And then everyone goes, oh, is it that easy? It's that easy. Yeah.
Mm.
And then the last would be add more value, increase your prices, add more products, add more value to yourself, fall in love with your business.
Mhm.
If you're resisting your staff, if you resent your business, if you resent time, if you resent staff, if you're paying staff and not yourself, you'll be filled with resentment. You don't love your business. It's not for you.
Yeah.
It looks good, but it's not for you. And if it's not for you, why are you doing it?
Mm-hmm.
And if you're doing it just to look good, but you're not getting paid, that's not for you. This is not a business. This is a charity, and you're the resentful one that's going without.
Mm.
Yeah. So I think the hardest part is you get stuck in business all the time and you want to grow and you want to make more money, and then you get stuck in your head, and then you've got to really constantly be able to replenish yourself so that you have the creative urge to get up tomorrow and go and connect and look for more work,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yes. Were there moments throughout, your business and your career where you had to kind of reinvigorate yourself a little bit to find that?
Daily.
Can you tell me a story where you really had to like shift gears and get yourself reconnected and realigned
Yep.
into why you're doing it and fall back in love with your business again?
Yep. I built my first business and I was about 30, so 2008. So 2008, I was 38, 39, and 37. And I didn't want to go anymore. I liked all my staff. I liked my business partner. I loved the space. But every time I'd go there, my gut would just fall through the floor. And it was done. I was done. So I built a little garage studio back in my house again because I didn't want to go to work anymore. And I would take my clients from home. I just didn't want to go there. And then, of course, the financial crisis and everything was there and hit, and we were going to be okay. I just went to the studio and I sat my business partner down and I said, I'm moving to Australia. And she said, what? And I said, I'm moving to Australia. And she said, why would you do that? And I said, I'm going to die. And she said, what? I said, I'm going to die. I don't know if I'm going to physically die, but if I stay, I'm going to die. And I don't know whether that's creatively or physically, but I feel like I'm going to die if I don't go. And she was like, where are you going to go? And I said, I want an international career and I'm going to move to Australia. I moved to Australia and I bottomed out, had the worst year of my career because the thing is I was going to die. I didn't want to do it anymore. Now, there's a really big difference between needing to replenish and being dead. Creators have to understand when you feel the feeling, that dead feeling, you're going to die. Your creativity is dying. It is sucking your will to live and build a business and flourish as a creative. And I was like, I don't know why it was so intense and why it was so dramatic. And I did. I moved. I sold my business to my business partner and I moved to Australia. Um, and it really took me a long time to work out what my next thing was going to be. And that was education then. But yeah, throughout that time, I grieved my creativity. I grieved being an artist sometimes. I stopped doing the stuff I really love doing. And I do stuff I don't want to do for long periods of time. That makes me feel like I'm going to die. So yeah, it's like a feeling, to me, it's a feeling of death.
Yeah.
And if I feel it, there's no life in this creative sacral. And if there's no life here, I have to run in the opposite direction. So I think that to replenish myself, I know that if I'm not joyful, I can't make money. Money has to come from joy.
Mhm.
People think it comes from action, but it comes from joy.
Did moving to Australia bring you that joy?
Not for the first year. It brought me trauma because I went to Australia and did exactly what I was doing in New Zealand. I went and opened a studio, which was why I went there, to not do that. It took me a while to let go of what I was letting go of in order to build the new thing. I really held on to it for too long. So, but replenishing your creative self is here. It's not an action. It's not up here. It's not even in your visual. It's actually in your creative center. It's how you feel. And how you feel dictates how you create. I think creators don't realize how powerful the center is and how much they get in their own way.
What are some other ways to connect to that center? If someone's like listening to this and they're like, I have no idea how to even begin to scratch the surface of connecting to that center that she's talking about, but I know I need it.
Yeah.
What's the first place to
Okay,
start?
so this is your gut instinct is your creativity.
Yeah.
Right. So I always say something. I said this, I was teaching somebody how to use their intuition the other day, and I asked them a question and I said, I only want you to respond yes or no. But when you respond, I want you to feel it in your body. Like, yes, you're going to lean towards me. You'll feel like you want to lean towards me, and no, you want to feel like you lean away from me. And I said something and he responded yes, very strongly. I could tell he was in his intuition because of how quickly and clearly he responded. And I kept asking questions, yes or no questions, and he kept responding and he kept responding. And I said, where do you feel it? And he went like this and put two hands exactly here, one on his sacral, one on his solar plexus. This is action and this is creativity. And I said, that's amazing. That's where you're supposed to feel any decision. It comes straight down and then you feel it in your chest and your gut. But if you hold there for a little minute and just hold it, you'll realize that the bottom one is speaking the loudest. Right. And if you just listen to it, you'll get the answer. So I kept asking questions. And then I purposefully asked a question that I knew he could not hold his intuition. He'd let his brain instantly come into it. Was an ex-partner. I asked that question and he couldn't answer yes or no. He faltered. And when he opened his eyes, I said to him, it's not that you couldn't get the intuition. It's that your brain went back to thinking instead of feeling the answer. Your brain got in the way. And he was just like, oh. So your brain is interrupting your feelings and your gut instinct. The feeling is your creative center. Your solar plexus is the action you take, and your identity is formed in your solar plexus, but everything you create is in your gut. So when it feels good, your gut feels light and bubbly. And when it feels bad, you're going to feel it here. And that's it. If you can listen to your intuition, it will change how you create. When you have that gut feeling, usually about money pain, debt, gives you this horrible kick in the gut. You can't create with that kick in your gut. I'm sorry, but I mean, I'm talking about the kick in the gut. I can feel it in my gut, and I know I can't go and create until I get rid of this feeling. It's like my whole inner sacral is like just turning in on itself. I can't even release it. Like, that's what it feels like to me. So intuitively, I cannot create. I certainly cannot connect or create or just download constant creative energy when I'm in my sacral like that, because that is competition.
Yeah.
That's the opposite to creating. So yeah, money pain stops you from being an incredible creator
Yes.
because you're worried about money. And then you're going to create something that you think people want because it's about money. It's not about what you wanted to create with your incredible ability. Yeah. So
I mean, in business in general too, they say like if you lose touch of the reason why and who you're serving, that's going to translate in
instantly
instantly.
to your income.
Right.
Yeah.
And if you stay in a space of, and I know this firsthand because almost exactly 1 year ago, I was in a mental space of lack and fear and debt, and my sacral was probably on freaking fire. I wish I would have
Constantly.
done some more practice to listen to that a little bit more. But I do remember a friend, we were out walking and I was like kind of venting and just bleh, like word vomit all over her. And she was like, Carly, I think you need to read this book. This book that I read about 1 year ago. And it was all about like mastering your mind and shifting the perspective to change the narrative, literally change the narrative to get yourself out of a space of speaking out this fear and lack and, oh my gosh, I'm drowning in debt and I'm doing this and this is why I can't and this is the reason why and I have all these roadblocks and by shifting that narrative you open up the opportunity to attract. It's a law of attraction.
You're actually attracting it.
Yeah,
Because
you're attracting more of yeah.
Whatever you're focused on is what you're attracting.
Right.
That's it.
Yes.
So it's not good or bad. There's no good or bad in attraction. There's only what are you focused on and how do you feel about it. So in that sense then, to alleviate creatives out there, let's say this Friday you need $5,000 for rent and you don't know how that $5,000 is going to come to you. And right now you're in a sheer blind panic. Because you're already running the options. I could borrow it off my mum. Would they even give it to me? You know, you're going through, I don't have a backup plan. All of the energy that you are now experiencing in your body is going to stop you from getting $5,000 on Friday. Every part of that is going to stop you because it's actually teaching you something. And one of the things it's teaching you is that if you could just stop for one moment and take responsibility for your debt, because you got to take control and take responsibility. And then you kind of realize that if I was able to disconnect from that fear and just spend the next 3 days connecting with my past clients, asking anybody else if they need more work, selling what I have, just generally cleaning up all my money energy and feeling really good about it, magic happens, right? And then somebody walks in on Thursday night and says, well, this debt got cancelled, or I just did a sale that made $5,000. So whatever you're asking for is what you're focused on. And so if you're getting a whole lot of shit that you don't want, you're focused on what you don't want. And that's the first thing you do is focus on what you don't want. I don't want to lose my job. I don't want to lose my staff. I don't want to lose my, I haven't got, you're affirming everything you don't have in that moment and you're accelerating the process in the exact opposite.
Yeah. When you've worked with so many different creatives and you've probably seen a variety of personalities and perspectives, what would you say, like off the top of your head, the percentage of people that stay in that stuck mode of reasons why they can't? And how do you help them like shift that? Because really it's you've got to take the ownership and the accountability because you're the only one that's going to be able to see the change for your own life.
So 2 energies block money and they are guilt and shame.
Okay.
Guilt is I'm a bad person and shame, well, guilt is I've done something bad.
Yeah.
And guilt is self-correcting. So if you feel guilty, self-correct. Apologize to somebody. Like guilt is self-correcting, but shame is I'm a bad person, right? So I think about that and I was like, so asking for money felt like guilt and shame for me. One, I felt guilty. Am I worth it? Do I deserve that? That's the guilt. And then the shame was I didn't grow up with money. Maybe I don't deserve to have money. So if you're repelling money because you don't feel good enough, your first response is if I'm better at what I do, but I got really good at what I did and it didn't take the guilt and shame away. So I realized that I carry this guilt and shame. Now, it's inherited, right? You got it from mum or dad. One of them gave you money, guilt, and shame, and now it's yours. And now you're going to give it to your kids.
Mm.
So this is a cycle you can break, and
Mm.
it's generational. But the cycle is, I'm not going to live with shame. The cycle is not a lack of money.
Mm.
The cycle is somebody gave you shame
Mm.
when you were little, and shame is like a sticker. Someone throws it at you, shame on you, and it sticks to you, and you carry it for a lifetime.
Mm.
So I thought, in order to be valuable, I have to have no shame, because SSP is shameless self-promotion. How can I promote myself shamelessly when I have shame? So am I saying I'm not good enough to be paid?
Mm.
Am I saying I'm not good enough to own a house?
Mm.
Am I saying I'm not good enough to own a business and be a business owner? Am I saying I'm not good enough to drive a nice car or give my children the school that they deserve or the life that they want? I don't have children, but I'm using it as an example.
Mm.
But like all of a sudden I realized this. It all came down to, do I think I'm worthy of asking for more? Yes. Every single cell on my being is goosey right now, because I suddenly realized, like, my mum and dad always told me I was good and and whole and wonderful, and like I was loved. So where did the shame come from? And it's my dad.
Mm.
My dad could never ask for money,
Mm.
because you should never ask for money.
Mhm.
And they failed in business very early because they were kids that couldn't ask for money. And I realized that. And I was like, that's not going to happen to me.
Mm-mm.
Also, I was not a trophy wife. I was just not going to be the girl that married the guy that was like, you can get your nails done.
Mhm.
It just was not going to be me. It was never going to be me. So I didn't get married till I was 48. And, I'm already successful in myself. So it was really important to me. And that was a big thing for me, is to do this myself and not be supported or not have somebody else. I had something to prove.
Yeah. Mhm.
I had something to prove, for
Mhm.
sure.
Okay, let's shift gears a little bit. Let's talk about the portrait system.
Mhm.
I would love to know, like, what sparked the idea and how you knew, like, the moment you touched on it a little bit already, but the moment you knew, like, you were ready to start teaching.
Yeah. I think I was done with the doing of, and I was really into the teaching of, but it comes from, at the core, I had this deep desire. I have this deep desire to save women.
Yeah.
And the deep core of that is to save women financially.
Yeah.
So for me, starting a business was great. I was important and I had staff and people saw me as a success story. But it's actually the money,
Mm.
earning money, that freed me and that made me financially independent. And that was my focus, was to build wealth
Yeah.
and to free myself and my family from generational poverty in any way, shape, or form. So when I really came down to it, I think that was at the core what I wanted.
Mhm.
But yeah, um, teaching people how to make money saves them.
Yeah.
Because it's the whole, like, if you give someone a fish, they eat for a day.
Yeah.
No, I learned how to fish and then I taught people how to fish. Like, this is my greatest achievement. I had an event last month and there were 9 photographers there and they were all women. And I said to the group, is everybody here broken through selling, like broken through that barrier of next level, I can now sell what I'm worth? And out of the 9, 7 of them said yes. 2 were, still breaking through or new.
Mhm.
And then I said to the 7, out of the 7, what's your highest, like, individual sale that you've made? And they were like 9,000, 9,000, 13,000. In fact, 9,000 was the most number, and one was at 13. And I was just sitting there thinking, that's my greatest achievement,
Yes.
is when I've got creative women standing in front of me telling me they're writing invoices for $9,000, $13,000 because they're worth it and they're doing the work and they're running businesses and they're amazing and they're hitting numbers. I was like, I think that was the reason I wanted to be a teacher. And even though I teach, like, I can't help myself, I want to just coach people. I just want to be an artist again.
Yeah.
So now I just want to be an artist
Well,
again.
because now, yeah, you do have your hands
I've
in
done
your
my 15 years
yeah.
teaching. I just want to be an artist now.
So let's talk about that, like, transition period, because it is amazing to see you in that space of creativity again with your hands
Yes.
on camera.
I think I died. I lost my creativity. I lost the camera. I had the grief. I would touch my camera and feel nothing but a deep grief.
Mm.
And I couldn't feel a joy for it. And there was no spark at all. And I thought I had lost it entirely. So about 4 years ago, I had an exit too. I sold my company in 21,
Yeah.
and it was a big exit right in the middle of menopause. And so I really didn't know what to do with myself. I think I floundered for many years after, and I just sort of found my way back. But reconnecting with my camera this year has been one of the greatest joys, and just on my terms, creating with it. That's really where I'm.
Yes, I love it. And coming to Arizona too, because you came here in 2020, is that right? Or 21?
Yeah, 5 years
Five.
Friday.
Yes.
5 years on Friday.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
And you have the most beautiful studio where you host these workshops
Yes.
and you're doing a lot of this creativity.
Yeah.
What else are you working on right now?
I'm doing a new podcast,
Mhm.
but it's a podcast you can watch. So I'm doing a photo shoot. I don't listen to podcasts. I know it's so weird. I just don't. If I'm driving, I will, but mostly I'm at home working and I don't have a podcast in my ears. But if you put a podcast up, I will watch you.
Mhm.
I would rather see your face and your expression and your energy.
Yeah.
So I want a podcast that you can watch, but I want it to be a photo shoot that you're watching. So I've been doing these creative shoots where I take somebody and I tell their transformation story. But first I do it with an image. I create an art image with them
Mm.
using their body and their voice. And then obviously I put two chairs smack bang in the middle of the shoot. So it's really organic. And then I interview them. And most of the time, these creative shoots take 4 or 5 hours. So by the time they're getting into the chair, they're very open. And I'm really enjoying the process of interviewing them. But you can listen to the interview, but I want you to watch the process of seeing their transformation story. So that's
Oh,
what I'm.
I cannot wait to see
Yeah, and
this.
it's good just to be a creator again.
Totally.
I mean, I'm always a creator. I'm a
Mhm.
crafter and an artist, and I will paint and
Mm.
make things every single day.
Mhm.
But there is something, maybe it's because I'm bonded to my camera. Maybe, you know what it feels like when you're a creator and you use a tool like that. I used to see my camera and feel an excitement that it's really hard to describe, like a hunger. And when I lost that, I thought I again thought I might die. I was like, is this what has been taken away from me?
Yeah.
But it does. I've fallen out of love with photography multiple times in the last 36 years,
Mm.
but I always fall back in love with it.
Yeah, you do. In a different way.
Yeah.
That's what, when you're describing this new podcast idea, it feels like a beautiful blend of the art of creating through your camera, but also blending this transformation and working with women and supporting them and empowering them and shining light on their transformation, which
Women
is,
are incredible.
yeah.
They're so incredible. And I don't think we understand how much, when you work with women, how extraordinary they are, and how we spend all of this time thinking we're not enough.
Mm.
Blows my mind.
Mm-hmm.
In business and life and relationships, and especially in front of the camera in your own body.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What are some of because I know part of the art of doing portrait photography and working with so many different people is making them feel the most comfortable in their skin.
Yeah, but you're the one holding the thing that makes them
The most
uncomfortable.
comfortable,
It's
which
like, oh, I'm here to make you uncomfortable. This is my camera.
exactly.
And people will look at you completely normal, talk, normal energy, and you put
Yeah.
your camera over your face. As soon as the camera covers my face, and even to here, as soon as I put it,
Mhm.
like if I'm still looking with my eyes, but my camera's in front of me and I can see the back of my camera, the same
Still.
veil comes down because all of a sudden you have no control.
Mhm.
And so it's a moment. So I'm the one holding the thing that makes you uncomfortable. And really what I'm trying to do is just get you to relax the muscles of your face,
Mm.
because the muscles on your face are doing something like this,
Yeah.
or they duck mouth, or
Yep.
hold all their tension in their jaw. And so really I'm just looking at that micro expression first and trying to get people to relax their face. But I'm the reason that you're on.
Yeah. Uh-huh. It's
I am the
true.
reason.
So what are some things? Are there things that you say or do or practices that you do with certain people, or do you just let it be organic with each
There's
person?
no organic. You
So
got to
organic.
take
Yeah.
control. You
Yes.
take control of people because also there's something about my assertiveness. I'm a very assertive human being. I mean, command is in my top 5
Yeah.
for Clifton strengths. But I think the assertiveness takes control is I've got you.
Mm-hmm.
It translates with me into trust because all of a sudden they don't have to worry about what their hands are going to do. I make sure every part of their hands are like I'm watching everything right down to their hands. Like if their hands look tense, I'm relaxing their fingertips. And because I'm running through their whole body, I'm giving them so much to think about. I can already see that they're not focused on not enjoying being in front of the camera. Once I take that control, it only takes 2/50th of a second,
Mm-hmm.
right, to take one photograph.
Mm-hmm.
Then I turn that camera, and when I do, I know I've got to take a photograph that you are going to respond to.
Yeah.
But when I see it, and it could be 10 minutes into the shoot, could be 20 minutes into the shoot, when I turn my camera and give you the first response, I'm looking for, because that realization now is she can not only see me, she is seeing, she is creating something good of me, and their trust just instantly sort of doubles again. So it's like those little key moments are the moments. But here's the thing, I would say 98% of people leave a shoot saying, well, that I can't wait to see them. That was, gosh, really exciting and wow. But when they come back and they just fall in love with every single photograph, they suddenly remember the shoot as being different.
Mm.
It goes from being awkward and that was really difficult to being that was the greatest experience of my life. And that doesn't happen until after they see their
Yes.
photograph.
Yeah.
So that was weird. I would always be like,
Yeah.
what is happening right now? And it's like, oh, you now are seeing gorgeous photographs and you're remembering that shoot is different.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Wow.
It's a really vulnerable state to be in.
For sure.
Try and tell me another vulnerable state. People tell me they'd rather go to the dentist, than be photographed by me.
Uh-huh.
I'm like, really? And then they're photographed by me. And then I call them repeat offenders. Like I had people come back for 5 years, 6 years in a row, every year. Like, can you do that again?
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. So it should be an experience where you feel whole in yourself and feel confident in yourself.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like that's the part that I'm the one that's bringing the thing. It's
Mm-hmm.
making you feel this way.
Mm-hmm.
So I have to be the one that makes you relax enough.
So, what is next for you other than the podcast? Are you going to be doing more photography work? Are you going to be leading more workshops? What do you see in the near future for?
So on April 1st,
Mm-hmm.
my non-compete is up,
Okay.
and that signals 5 years. And that has been really difficult. I felt, well, it wasn't in the sense that I was running from my camera. So I was like, it's okay. I'm never going to touch my camera again. It's funny that this year is the year that I've really come back to my camera, but I'm creating different. I'm not shooting portraits anymore. I mean, I will shoot portraits for my friends and family, but I want to just create art with my camera for my clients and to create as an artist because I deserve that. All artists deserve to thrive. I think if my biggest message now would be, I had something to prove when I built that platform. But the thing that I've always had to prove is that I can just be a paid artist. Like the platform, that was wonderful. And it was an incredible experience, and I'll never take it away. That was 10 years of my life. But as an artist now, like the greatest gift that you can have is to be sustainable so that you can do your art. I just read in China, people don't hate their jobs or they don't have lives that they have to go home from because they don't actually expect to be happy in their work.
Mm.
That culturally, work is work. You go to
Mhm.
work and you're not there to be fulfilled. And I thought about that and I was like, as a life of a creator, I've spent the last 35 years being paid to be an artist, and I really struggled to maintain that lifestyle for 35 years.
Yeah.
But the truth is I want to be fulfilled by my craft. I want to be fulfilled by my work. I want to work with people that are like family. I want to go to my workplace and feel that kind of incredible fulfillment. So culturally, I think we expect it, and then we go to do it, and it's a grind. So balance, like learn how to sell so that you can go back to being an artist, so that you can get paid to be someone who creates art.
Yes.
And find a way to live there in equal exchange of value, that it works for you, so that you can live the life of an artist, because that is the greatest life there is.
Yes. But the last question that we always ask everyone on our podcast is, it's really a letter to our future makers. So if there was a young, aspiring photographer, filmmaker, creative that stumbled across this podcast episode 10 years from now, what is one piece of advice that you would want them to take from you in your journey?
Go and find somebody who's mastered what you want to master and work for them.
Okay.
Yeah, work for them and treat them like your master. Robert Greene's book and the Laws of Power, the 48 Laws of Power, and one of them he writes that you don't exceed your master, right? So in that sense, you honor your master until you become as good as them. And when you become as good as your master folds you in. It's how it works. And I think a lot of people are like, I can work for you if you give me this. But I always came from that if I could just find somebody that's mastered what I want to master and work for them until I've mastered my craft. And that is the greatest gift. Once you've found your mastery, that person, your only goal is to reach mastery as joyfully as you can, is the mastery of doing that craft. Because that connection to it. And then it doesn't matter who you are or what your background is, what your lack of education is, or like I didn't finish high school, but you couldn't take mastery away from me. I have mastered this, and it made me valuable and important, and I was seen because I mastered something. So that really is it. Find your mastery.
Yeah.
Find the person that you want to follow, learn to master it their way. And there is this, I have taught this before, and I'm going to get the saying wrong, but there's a Japanese way of teaching where the master, first you do everything the master says. You don't push back. They've mastered this, and that you are about to learn everything that the master has learned. Then as you've mastered their craft, you start to put your own spin on it. And as soon as you've mastered their craft, you're still honoring your master by saying, this master taught me this. But as you start to put your own spin on it, you start to grow a different mastery. And that's when you outgrow your master. And it's only in that moment. So find somebody. Find somebody you can work with, that you can grow under, that you truly respect, and master their craft first, and then find your way, but always honor that master as your first master. Because if you do, they take them with you, and then they elevate you past them because it's their time. So I'm now doing that. I'm now putting people past me, and I think it's brilliant. I think it's such a beautiful feeling to watch people succeed. One of my students has 6.5 million followers on TikTok.
Wow.
Every day I like their posts because I'm like, I watched this person come into my space, this quiet, shy person, and I thought, how are they ever going to build a business in LA? And hello, they just built a business internationally. So you should be able to exceed the people that you learn from, but have them still want to elevate you.
Yeah. I'm curious, was your first master the one that you worked for in those early years? How did you find that first
Yes,
master?
it
And
was.
how many masters have you had throughout the course of
I had
your
one.
career? That one core.
I
Yeah.
did. I had that one core, and I didn't like him. He taught me more about what I shouldn't be than what I should be.
Wow.
And he never, but I was young. I was 18, 19, 20. I didn't honor him. I was a smart ass. He interviewed me and he said, what do you want to be doing in 5 years? I said, your job. And he laughed in my face. 5 years later, I called him up. He was on the golf course.
Mhm.
And I said, "Hi, I've been here 5 years today." And he was like, "No way. Congratulations. That's really awesome." And I said, "And I just want to say, look at me. I'm here doing your job." And he went quiet and he goes, "You know what, Susie? I'm always marveled that you did that." And I was like, yeah, he was my first master.
Mm.
And I hated a lot of the things about him, but I gave him a bit of hell. I was kind of like a teenager that he didn't want, right? But then I grew up to be, and I do respect him now.
Mm.
I just think we had a bit of a push back then. And yeah, he didn't want to elevate me. There was absolutely no. And I can see why I wasn't
Yeah.
honoring him as a
Yeah.
master. I was also coming from the one day I'm going to be better than you.
Right, right.
You know, I was like that. I was determined.
I love that so much, Sue. Okay, well, to wrap this up, where can people find you? Where can people follow along with your journey and see what's coming up next?
I'm SueBryce.com and I'm SueBryce Photographer on Instagram. That's where you find me.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for your time
Thank you.
today.
Yes, thank you. And I would just like to say, you know, I loved meeting you and I've loved meeting your staff and I've loved this little business. It reminds me so much of my first business, you know, because I had 5 amazing girls working with me and we were just this incredible team. We were just doing it and it was just such a great energy. And when I walked into your business for the first time, I was like, oh, I remember this.
Mm.
I remember this incredible feeling and what it feels like to build something like this. And I just want to say, if you're creative and you're in business right now and you're struggling, you you don't have to. You've got to find a way to ask for more money, to get more money into your business and keep being a creator.
Yeah.
Because I'm so proud of when I meet businesses like yours and I just like watching this grow. It's going to be incredible. And I've loved creating a space where I can employ an incredible team of creative people where they can grow.
Truly.
It's been a gift.
It's the biggest gift.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for being such a big cheerleader of ours, too. Honestly, we've gained so much from your wisdom. So thank you for sharing it with us.
Thank you.